Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Taylor Campbell here and welcome to Comic Crash. So, they released the new Batman suit, or at least sort of did. And anyway, it's interesting enough that I want to talk about it, so let's go ahead and do that. Now, in case you aren't aware, or this is new information to you, let me sum up the whole situation. So, recently Robert Pattinson was cast as Batman in an upcoming Batman movie that's looking to be released next year in 2021. Now, as with anything related to Batman, there's a lot of hype around it, and one thing that everyone was really looking forward to, and we had a lot of discussion about, was what the Batman costume was going to look like, because we seem to have covered almost all of our bases with past movies, so it's like, what can they possibly bring to the table? Well, I'm recording this on the 14th. Yesterday on the 13th, late at night, they released this short little test footage video of Robert Pattinson in the Batman costume. And we all got to look at it, and so questions are answered, sort of. But before we go into like the weird parts about this footage, let's go ahead and just talk about what we did notice, what I noticed, and what I think we can take from it. First thing I noticed about this footage was the breastplate armor piece and the logo on it. So I noticed that it kind of expanded and contracted as he was breathing and as he was moving, which was a design element that was popularized in the Arkham Knight video game. So that's kind of cool that they're bringing that to the front. And then the logo was very different. It almost doesn't look like a bat. It looks like just like a batarang almost. It doesn't have the ears. It's just kind of like curved. It looks very sleek, very modern, almost reminiscent of Batman Beyond. But also, like I said, it looks like a batarang rather than a traditional Batman logo, which I think is okay. I think it looks good. The next thing that we were able to see that the footage focused on was the top of the cape and the cowl that came with the suit. Now, something that stood out to me immediately about this was the separated raised collar that was going around his neck, and I'm not sure what that was, but it's interesting. It is kind of reminiscent to me of things like Gotham by Gaslight, which I'm sure this movie is not based off of, but that kind of design element feels like that. It feels like he's wearing a trench coat on top of his costume. Oh, he's done that before, now that I think about it. Anyway, so that design element is interesting and it's iconic and it's stuck in my mind, which is what this costume needs. It needs to stick in people's minds. Kind of like how the Dark Knight costume sticks in people's minds, and everyone seems to go back and talk about that one in particular. But the big elephant in the room when we're talking about this footage is the color choice. It is weird. So the whole thing is filmed under a red light. Now let's talk about basic color theory real quick. So, basic color theory. Buzz Lightyear has green. And he only has green because light from the room is hitting this green color, and it is absorbing all of the color wavelengths except for green. And it is reflecting green for us to see. Now, this only works under white light. When you put in a different colored light, it reflects different wavelengths because less wavelengths are available. Now, red is interesting because under red is the lowest waveform that humans can see. You go any further than that, you get infrared, and we can't see that. So when it's red light will hit this, and because this can only reflect back red light, you're going to see red. And that's what's interesting about this footage. The fact that it is in red tells me they are trying to hide a color somewhere. Now, I've seen people try to take this footage and recolor it, but with a red light, that is almost impossible to do and do accurately. So I don't think that's what it is. What I think it is this. Maybe a couple of months ago, the director and a bunch of people, when asked about the suit, said that they were inspired by the Adam West suit. And then we got a bunch of fun photoshopped images of people putting Patterson's chin on Adam West's body and saying that's what the new suit is going to look like. We all knew that wasn't untrue, but I think what he's talking about is he's talking about the color scheme. Under a red light, cool colors like your blues and your purples, they all look black under a red light, and I think that's what we're seeing here. I think the cowl is actually going to be some kind of dark blue, maybe a dark purple kind of color. Now, a good way to think about this was probably the Batman animated series. You can see that the cape and the cowl has like this blue highlight that they used to try and give the costume some depth, and I think that is pretty close to what we should expect. But though, in my heart of hearts, I'm still hoping that this is going to look like the 1970s Batsuit with the very obvious gray and the very obvious blue. I always thought that was a cool color mix for Batman, and I'd like to see it happen in a movie. So I think that's... I want to get that, but I think what's more going to happen is it's going to be an animated series situation where it's going to be mostly black, but have kind of a blue tinge about it. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on the Batman costume. I'm excited that this thing exists now. And, like, I know that it's a long ways off still, 2021, it's probably going to be like a summer release. But I'm really excited about this movie now. It looks interesting, it looks exciting, and the costume looks really cool. And I'm excited to see it in action, but I want to know what you think. What do you think about this costume? And do you think there is a color difference, or are we going to get another gray and black one? I don't know. Go ahead and put your thoughts in the comments below. And until next time, thank you for joining me. Have a great day. And remember to always be your best self.